Hi, I'm Kirk from Air, Sound and Vision in Cairns. Today we're doing an instructional video to show how to fit our Landcruiser door panels. For Landcruisers with electric windows where you don't have the depth in the door when the glass comes down to fit a reasonable speaker. These panels are made of a marine grade ply, so water's not going to worry them, they're not going to swell up like other materials will, and they won't bow and bend on you over time. They've also been heat wrapped in a vinyl securely fixed to the back. So we've got Landcruisers up here in North Queensland that's been running around for a very long time using our panels now, and they're outlasting speakers. There's three different types of panel that we offer. First we have the 6x9 in a long and a short for a single cab or a dual cab Landcruiser. And we have the 6.5 inch coaxial speaker which recesses the grill of the speaker into the panel. And finally, 4 component speakers or split speakers. The main driver recesses in, the same as the coax panel, but on the rear you'll see we have this recess cut out with a centre hole. You can use a hole saw on the centre hole to cut through to make the correct mounting size depending on which tweeter you want to fit to the vehicle. Today we'll be showing you how to fit a set of the component panels or split panels to a Landcruiser 79 series dual cab. We've chosen to do our demonstration using these panels because they are slightly more complicated than the coax and the 6x9 versions because of the tweeter. Same principle applies no matter which panel you're fitting. Okay, this door card we've already just removed the basic trims and so on and taken it off and removed the pocket off it. The first thing you have to do before we start cutting anything into the door is make sure that these wires are out of the way, because where we want to cut the steel we're going to make this hole here slightly larger, so we need to move the electric window wires. You can simply pull the wires back through the bottom of the door. This wire here, because it tends to hang down where you don't need it to be, just tuck it up nice and high out of the way for now to hold it. So this area is now clear for when we cut the steel. So the next part is to put the door panel back on. It doesn't need to be clipped all the way on, just a few clips around to make certain it's in the right position. We take our door panel, now the idea of positioning is to line up an even distance between the outside of the door card and the panel at the front and at the rear. So I generally put my fingers on and you can feel when it's an even distance, and we go around halfway between these two lines in the door. Is where we want the top of this panel to line up, making certain that this is parallel to the line. If it's at an angle it will look strange later. And we simply mark the cutout onto the door and we're ready to cut. We know that there's a hole in behind here. If you go central of your marking, drill a pilot hole with about a 10mm bit for your jigsaw blade. Then the best tool to use is a jigsaw fitted with a metal cutting bit. It will easily cut through the door card and the steel in the one go and give you a nice neat finish. Make certain you always wear eye protection doing this. You'll notice that when I was cutting there, that is the only section where you're actually cutting steel out, but the way the door panels line up, a lot of it's only the card. So we can remove the door panel again now. very important to remember to clean out any of the metal that's been loose in the door from the cut. You can use compressed air, vacuum cleaner, but definitely take your time, clean the door out, and then we'll rust proof this bare metal edge before we go any further. We found that we did our own testing on some steel that we left out in the rain, and we found that the Septone rust proof and cavity wax works really well and lasts a long time, so that's what we tend to use. Certainly we've covered the areas that we've cut and left bare. I tend to put a bit of round in the bottom of the door at the same time. Now we can rejoin our wires that we moved earlier on. I'll cable tie these up and tuck them inside. Next step is to fit the original pocket that we pulled off the original door card onto the new door panel. Pre-drilled into these are 2 larger holes, which are locating holes, and 4 smaller holes, which are for your screws to hold the panel on. With the panel, we do supply adequate of these 28mm tapered screws. So, first thing to do is line up the 2 locators. Push them firmly down so they slide into the holes. Once they're in, these screws should line up perfectly with the original mounting holes. And they should go in nice and flush with the tunnel. Okay, put a pilot hole through for the wire from our tweeter. If the panels are being supplied for fitting Alpine Type R or Type S tweeters, we will pre-cut the hole for you to be the perfect size for the tweeter. Otherwise, if you are fitting another brand of speaker, you will have to use a hole saw to cut your own hole, which will be pre-marked the centre of it from the rear, so that's easy. Once again, we just check to make certain that this is lined up and that these 2 lines are parallel with each other. Then using the small black needle screws that were provided with the panels, we just put a bunch of them around the rear, coming through the door card and into the timber to pin it in position to start with. So to refit the door panel onto the car for the last time. So what we need to do now is fix the door panel that we've put on to the actual steel of the door. Will make the speaker sound a lot better, it won't move around as much and it won't come off after time. First point is halfway on the curve at the rear and about halfway from the edge to the pocket. Here's a 1/8 drill bit and go through into the steel of the car. The next fixing points will be behind the speaker itself. So you can see where there's steel available directly behind the panel. So pick 2 places opposing each other where you've got a good amount of steel directly behind. if you were to drill here, there's no steel behind, so you won't get the strength that you're looking for, whereas here there is. Also provided are 3 of these long screws and a washer. The one with the washer is for the rear corner. The washer will stop the screw head from biting into the vinyl. They will pull in nice and flush, and now it's will be solidly fixed to the door of the car. Again, over time, it won't separate on you. The next thing we need to do is to take our speaker wire that we've run up to the new head unit, and we need to bring it from the body of the car into the door of the car. So we've begun by unplugging, this is the loom from the car door, the existing loom, coming into the body. It's one plug, we unplug it, and we can pull this loom back through the body. We also pull the grommet out of the door of the car. Just makes it a lot easier to work getting our wire through here. Now these are simply taped up from factory, so we need to remove the original tape. You'll see they slide easily along the loom now. Feed the new wire in through the hole in the body. Through the existing grommet. Try to reposition these grommets where they were originally on the loom. And re-tape the loom. Then refit the grommets to the body and to the door of the car. And we're ready to fit the speaker. Our window regulator wires that we moved before, we will now just put a cable tie around them to keep them neat. You can see inside the door there. Cable tying them also stops them from going down in the base of the door and having the connection sit in water. So we'll see, also cable tie them to the main loom that runs just below the speaker, and they'll keep them up out of any water that sits in the bottom of the door. The wire from the body of the car through our main feed wire. Trim it, don't trim too short, leave enough cable so that it will sit in there neatly. It makes it easy to pull the speaker in and out in future. Tweeter wire. A couple of small cable ties on to keep it neat also. before we actually fit the speaker in place, we'll pre-drill the holes for the mounting screws. The easiest way to do this is to take the grill, position it nice and straight, and again with a 1/8 bit, drill into the timber. Now we're ready to fit the speaker finally. You can do this a number of ways. If you have crimp terminals you'd like to use, you can do that. If you prefer to solder them, it's a better connection. Tin the cables first, as well as the connections on the speaker. Be mindful not to get too much heat into the connections on the speaker. It should be a very quick process. Okay. Once again with the crossover, we don't want it sitting down in the bottom of the door where it can sit in water. Cable tied in behind to the main loom of the door. Hold it nice and secure and prevent rattles also. You only need to tighten the speaker to the point where it is firm, because you've got a nice flat mounting surface with the panel. That's all you'll need. We have a fitted pair of speakers.